Watch us trade live right before your eyes from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. every market day Pacific time. Join us now only on SwissFT.com.
About this being an isolated low on the daily chart. That's a term that I picked up from somebody else, but it's an isolated low because of the movement down, because of this movement up here, because of taking this low out and then reversing the candle and either it being a doji or what you're calling a spinner, followed by the next day, it could have pulled back to the same low and go up. As long as this low doesn't come out, this is considered then an isolated low, which then potentially adds to the validation of this potential trend defined by ABCD. So isolated low, potential C low, pointing to then an ABCD target here at 82, which is 786 resistance back to this high. First trend on daily chart. Next, the market pulls back on the daily chart to this level here, and it's a valid ABCD because it traded to the 382. Then we have a secondary trend of A, B, C, as long as the 382 holds, and on that day it did. And so we have a secondary trend up to here. And then on the 11th, which is Monday, the market once again pulled back to the 382, an isolated low on the daily chart as defined over here. And we talked about it over here. So as long as this 382 holds, we have a third ABCD defining trend on the daily chart to 81.80, 82.03, or possibly 83.28, all of them defined by the 786 on the daily chart, or defined by the 786 back to this top here. And we also have an expansion of the range that started the first ABCD 127 expansion to the same area. So we're going to then look for possible buy points on this daily chart, moving up to then these potential tops over here. So we could go back and find these buy points on the daily, on the 4-hour chart, but this is the last intervening low that we talked about on the daily chart. And if we were to use that range right here, we would have pulled back to the 786 to that low, and we could then have another ABCD here, and that's targeting that same 81.80 that we looked at on the daily chart. So now we've got a high coming into the vicinity of these other targets, and we look down to the 4-hour, down to the hourly chart, and we see then that the market put in, and if we look at this range right here, we've got a down and a retrace, and a projected target against 80.85. So in my estimation, this hourly chart targeted out against the expansion of that range at 1.618 and an ABCD at 80.55. And so when we drop down to the 15-minute chart, then we find a recent pullback here and a potential rally up to here and a potential downturn, which I'm just going to take this ABCD off of here and move it over to here, because we had a potential ABCD to the downside off of this 382. And yet when the market pulled back it didn't take out the A low, which then would be, or the B low, which would then give us the actual D target. When the market didn't take that out, you begin to run a suspect, and selling this then against this C high has less probability because of that's been my study on it so far. So here's the now when this C high, A, B, C high comes out, we now have a new ABCD to the upside, and I'm having trouble with that. Still having trouble with it, which, you know, you could try to sell it against here in the 50% on that candle, but the trend based on the ABCD, if we take this high out, the trend is now up according to the ABCD. And now we could get into a potential sell point, assuming this is the high here. And so now if we just go back and look at the entire montage of the daily chart, and when we come down here and we don't make a new low on the daily chart, and we have these other signals, the trend on the daily chart is still up. The trend on the 4-hour chart is indecisive, except that if this high holds, here's where the market's going down to, which is what you pointed back to a little bit ago at 79 something. You drop down to the hourly chart, you see that the hourly chart has targeted out. And so now we're going to look for the rally back here to the potential 786 on the hourly chart, which we can then define as a move up if this hourly chart high comes out, because then we're looking at these other targets on the daily chart. And so the 15-minute chart then becomes important as far as watching these points on a grander scale. And, you know, I'm new to this. I'm just trying to figure out for my own how this all works. But the discussion that you had about the five energies of the market, I just have a tendency to think that there's some parallel here.
Oh, yeah. Just, yeah, they're definitely parallel. There's definitely parallels between what Barry says and what Larry says.
So I'm trying to pick my trades a little bit more along these lines and trying to get on a position in the market like here, where the market moves position-wise from 77 up to where we are now. So maybe that's helpful, maybe that's not.
Yeah.
Which goes a little bit differently than just the 2 hours that you're looking to trade the market here each morning. So not sure how it ties in, but that's some thought process. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Well, very, very good. Thank you for sharing.
I turn the screen back to you, Richard.
That was absolutely incredible.
Join us now only on SwissFT.com.